presenting Kentucky Roy.
At the set of sun, when the day is done, I'm riding the bluegrass trail. When the stars are bright and my heart is light, I'm riding the bluegrass trail.
Yes, sir, folks, you know who that is. It's Kentucky Roy, the old bluegrass trail rider, and his bluegrass boys coming to you with a song in their hearts just for you. And here he is in person, folks, Kentucky Roy.
Thank you, Freddie, and good morning, everybody. Just want to say howdy to you this morning and welcome out on the Bluegrass Trail. We're mighty glad to have you with us, and we hope you enjoyed a real pleasant weekend. Our first song this morning is one of my feeble efforts, When It's Harvest Time in Caroline. When it's harvest time in Caroline, I'll be coming back to you, just to live once more as in days of yore, all the happy hours that we knew. Oh, I'll never roam far away from home, and the one whose love is always true. When it's harvest time in Caroline, I'll be coming back to you. When summer days are over and the leaves begin to fall, I'm thinking of my home in Caroline, and of the one who's waiting there among the hills so tall. She promised me that someday she'd be mine. When it's harvest time in Caroline, I'll be coming back to you, just to live once more as in days of yore, all the happy hours that we knew. Oh, I'll never roam far away from home, and the one whose love is always true. When it's harvest time in Caroline, I'll be coming back to you. While the boys are getting ready to take off here on a number, I'd like to thank you folks for all your nice cards and letters, and especially those for our Mother's Day program Saturday. And I'd also like to say this. We received a lot of cards and letters on Saturday that we didn't get on the program because we had our program completed on Friday, the day before. And we're very sorry that we didn't get to them, so we'll catch up on as many of them as we can today. And now for Marjorie Hales of Crenshaw, Mississippi, and her mother here in Memphis, Mrs. Ina Eaton at the request of Mrs. Carrie Cochran and family of Memphis, for M.D. Hargrove and his mother, Mrs. Erla Butler of Dyersburg, Tennessee, Mrs. W.A. Bray of Pontotoc, Mississippi, and her mother, Mrs. Eliza Hare of Vardaman, Mississippi, and for Ruby Dale Potts and her mother of Crenshaw, Mississippi. Here's my boys with, what is it, Bury Me Out on the Prairie or something? Right. fellas. Thank you. Our next number is for Louise White and her mother of Savage, Mississippi, Lucille Busby and her mother of Memphis, Mrs. Ernest Johnson of Memphis and her mother and mother-in-law, Mr. and Mrs. Melvin Murphy of Rosedale, Mississippi, for Marie Zener of Brighton, Tennessee, who wants a number for Wallace Wicker of Bertrand, Missouri, and the song is Song of the Wanderer. Roads are so dusty, dear, days are so long, my feet grow rusty, dear, just a-wandering on. All the world's a mockery, even tree stumps laugh at me, 'cause I'm such a fool to be longing for you. Where shall I go when I go where I go, since you have sent me away? What shall I do when I do what I do, when you just haunt me all day? Where can I find what I found when I first met you? You were unkind, but I simply can't forget you. Where shall I go when I go where I go, since you have sent me away? Where shall I go when I go where I go, since you have sent me away? What shall I do when I do what I do, when you just haunt me all day? Where can I find what I found when I first met you? You were unkind, but I simply can't forget you. Where shall I go when I go where I go, since you have sent me away? Don't you folks stop writing to us now just because every day isn't a special day like Mother's Day. Drop us a line anytime you feel like it. We really appreciate hearing from you, and we appreciate your suggestions in regard to our program. And now here are the boys to give you a tune a lot of you folks have requested, and it's When My Baby Smiles at Me. Is that it?
Old Ted Lewis.
Well, take right on. thank you, boys. That was mighty good. Except for that afterbeat I put on the ending there. And now for Von Seal Harron, her little twin brother and sister, Joel and Jean of Vardaman, Mississippi, Mrs. Carrie Cochran and her mother, Mrs. Ada Henson of Memphis, Mrs. Robert Leeton of Como, Mississippi, and for Mildred and Margaret Kimbrell of Oxford, Mississippi. Here's going back to Texas, just a little of it. Started out from Texas about a year ago. Started out to make myself a name. Going back to Texas with a heart that's sick and sore. My weary feet are getting mighty lame. Going back to my good old Texas home, home, home. Down by the sleepy Rio Grande, where the lonesome turtle dove is breathing, and the moon is shining on the sand. Going back where the longhorn cattle roam, 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 where your best friend is your bronco and your gun. And I know I'll never more be leaving Texas home, my rambling days are done. Hey, and that looks like it takes care of about everything here today. It's been fine having you with us, though, and don't forget to write to us. We'll be back at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, and until then, I just want to say thanks to you for your visit, and goodbye, everybody. At the set of sun, when the day is done, I'm riding the bluegrass trail.
As he rides out of sight and his voice fades in the distance, Kentucky Roy says thanks for another pleasant visit with you out on the Bluegrass Trail. It's been a pleasure having you, and we hope you've enjoyed it. Tune in at the same time each morning, Monday through Saturday, when you'll hear the familiar voice of Kentucky Roy, the Bluegrass Trail Rider, and the Bluegrass Boys.